In 1976, the music scene in Quebec was thriving, and one of the most unique bands to hit the scene that year was Etc., who had a very angular and jagged approach to music making. And from their singular self-titled album, the track
Et la musique tourne.
Now what is that sound? It almost sounds kind of like a drumstick being ran up and down a metal like washboard or something. Or that's some really super fast like tom playing, but really quiet too. What did I tell you about angular, jerky, staccato? Oh, I love how that thin clipped kind of guitar is playing amid those really just like jagged. Everything is really staccato and angular on this. The keyboard, and yeah, every sound. And every sound is really clean too, notice that. Okay, right off, comparisons to Gentle Giant are quite obvious, particularly like mid-70s period, like songs like Cogs and Cogs, or So Sincere, or Just the Same. Or a few of the tracks off their 1976 album, Interview. But I'm also hearing, well, as I do in that period of Gentle Giant anyway, kind of a precursor to some of the quirkier, jagged aspects of certain new wave acts. Like early XTC, like particularly when Barry Andrews was in the band. With the first three albums by them anyway, or like Fibonacci's, Oingo Boingo. Yeah. Heck, Devo in some of their more jagged, spastic moments. I cannot find the lyrics printed anywhere, so if you can understand what she and what they are saying as it goes along, oh, please fill us in. This changes a lot. There are a lot of changes. In fact, this is one of those songs where you have to like listen to at least like 10 times before you really take apart all of its pieces. And I love this part, this change right here. Oh, those sustains with just those kind of like open guitar chords, like one per figure of eight with that rising, icy synth over those like interacting, kind of half-spoken, male-female French vocals. I love how he's like basically singing lyrics and she's kind of like chirping around him here. Yeah. Well, that makes sense for one to kind of do lyrics and the other to kind of just use their voice as an instrument. Now we've got a pretty lean yet really full and really tight sound here. We've got that just kind of like wavy synthesizer sound, and amid that really tight guitar, kind of angular structure, and then some really 3/4, I guess. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1. this seems to be 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4, something like that. We're going through a lot of different solo passages here. Like this part, this part kind of slipped my mind. Oh, I love that. There's kind of that just quirky, like kind of like attention deficit thing, but that's what I love about some of these records from this time period. Like I guess Fire Ballet could be another a cross point, but like on the 2 album, like Chinatown Boulevards, those. Um, Her voice, I guess, kind of reminds me a little bit. Maybe it's just the French thing. It's that really feminine, kind of high French voice. But I'm thinking a little bit of Koss, the Belgian band. Except Koss had a real creamy, kind of more jazzy approach, whereas this is really clean, like crystal clear and staccato tight. And I'm not hearing any jazz at all. Oh, I just love that just sort of like neon synth sound, and just the way it waves and kind of. Yeah, these really kind of almost like avant-garde harmonies, where it's almost like two different song ideas all together are kind of two different parts of the song are kind of interlocking into one. It's kind of not quite similar. Once again, the Gentle Giant influence, because Gentle Giant would do some pretty like avant-garde, like kind of jigsaw harmonies, like almost like cubist in a way, like a cubist painting where several different angle perspectives are all portrayed on the flat plane of a canvas. Okay, now I'm hearing several different synthesizers at once. I'm hearing the staccato, melodic one on top, and then I'm hearing a fizzier, more sustained one lower. Of course, really clean, just kind of note-driven guitar. The way that all these instruments are just kind of mostly playing interlocking arpeggios. Yeah, they were all playing parts that were very complicated, and yet none of them were showing off. For all like the intricacy in this piece, there wasn't one moment where the ensemblic interplay subsided to let just one soloist, shine in the, have the spotlight to him or herself. It was just, and yet at the same time, this must have taken a lot of practice for them to nail a piece of that complexity. Yeah, the opening track on the Etc. album.
Et la musique tourne.
Yeah, let's hear another track off the album, Newton Avait Raison. I'm hearing a little bit of pitch bending in this. I love that really low, kind of fuzzy, well, trebly, kind of fuzzy synthesizer sound, and how that slightly pitch bent, get like really staccato lead is filtering in over it. Some of the guitar tones this band uses are almost like an update of like surf guitar in a way. Really, I'm thinking just really like tight, like notes and tight kind of like notes along the fretboard, as opposed to chords. Because what this band is avoiding, what the guitarist is avoiding on this album, it seems, is chords and scaly runs and filigree, fast filigree lightning licks and such, or like legato soloing. It's all just kind of like somewhat guitar work, somewhat akin to like you would hear like on an old Ventures record or something. Except the sound is somewhat more modernized, and once again, I think they're bringing back a kind of more refined, kind of more detailed type of guitar playing that's neither jazz nor hard rock, but would ultimately influence the new wave. It's kind of like a approach to guitar playing that you would find like on XTC, like on Drums and Wires, that album by XTC. Like, there are many songs I could mention from that, but like, yeah, the more refined new wave guitar style. Yeah, like a light, maybe like effects pedal being employed. And the sounds, the synthesizer sounds I'm also hearing, basically, it seems to preview the sounds that like Dave Greenfield of the Stranglers would be using quite heavily within a year of this release, like especially starting on the second Stranglers album, No More Heroes. I'm thinking of like songs like Peasant in the Big, Burning Up Time, those. This kind of like odd, snappy time signature with this very kind of odd, measured vocal. Once again, I'm thinking of, mid-period Gentle Giant. It's like a female voice. Is that not wavy sounding or what? I mean, it's just going it's just like one. I'm seeing just like one big like wavy line like representing the synthesizer, and it's just so like, just like thick and foamy and fuzzy and I swear, the one kind of, the last frontier of rock and roll is finding the golden middle between kind of late period staccato symphonic rock and quirky staccato avant-garde new wave. Well, kind of like what was talked about on that Zolo page in the late 90s. Yeah, which covered a lot of this music. Hear that boom, 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 boom. I love how that wavy synthesizer is playing over that bass line. It's going boom ba boom ba boom ba boom ba boom. I mean that rhythmically they're just slightly different from one another, but they're interacting. They're each kind of helping propel the other. Now I'm hearing a little bit of a clavinet sound kind of low in the mix, but it's a relatively clean sound. But kind of like the sound that Gentle Giant used on the title track of Freehand. That one. Dun 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 dun. It's also a sound that that another Gentle Giant influenced band, Epidermis, the German band, would appropriate on their album Genius of the Original Force. Or another, come to think of it, I think another, FSB, the Bulgarian Gentle Giant influenced band, who on their first album actually basically did like instrumental versions of various, it was kind of just like a collage of different Gentle Giant titles and melodies, like in instrumental form. I think they use that sound as well. I'm trying to count that. I think it's in 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's it. It's so noticeable though that odd where it's just like the ding, like that. Oh, down. It may be easier to actually try and count it in fives, like. That doesn't quite work. I go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 5. I like this passage too, though. That ascending, kind of like low keyboard and the higher kind of wiggly, wobbly, muted keyboard above it. And I just love how the odd time signature is just so obvious. It just each time it just kind of each time the figure restarts at that unexpected moment, and you just feel the propulsion. It's like a big kick forward. I love how that sound, how that solo right there just kind of emerges out of the fading, like. Actually, maybe it's got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It may be 11. I think it's 11. Oh, they are interacting really well here. And I love the way that guitar, that really kind of clipped, clean but quirky guitar sound is just kind of playing note pattern like behind them.
Le silence intègre mon esprit.
The ultimate earworm of the track. That was Etc. with Newton Avait Raison. And before that, La Musique Tourne, both from their singular self-titled album, Etc., released in 1976 on Apostrophe. And yes, one of the most unique bands on the Quebec scene, in large part because they took most of their musical inspiration from Gentle Giant, which was a very, you gotta say, like Gentle Giant, it seems like every 5 years one band comes along that stands out much more than the others from their peers. I mean, that is just like too hard to pigeonhole. And so, admittedly, like the Gentle Giant influences the, the 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 group of bands that have been influenced by them over the years is admittedly a very small pool, and you have to really be determined. A band has to be has to really practice a lot, and I mean because getting down the essence of the Gentle Giant influence requires a lot of harmonic contrapuntal interplay. Everyone playing notes that interlock and in some cases challenge what the other person's doing, where there's a semi-cohesiveness, but there's also somewhat of a kind of dizzying abstraction that holds together but slightly teeters harmonically at the same time. And to arrange that not just among the instrumentalists, like every instrumentalist, like playing their own note passages, in contrast to the other musicians, but the vocalists to also sing in that sort of way, sing in a way that matches and mirrors that approach. Yeah, is a very big challenge, and yeah, and so it's something. It's a very rewarding path, and it's one that few have taken over the years. And so when you hear like a band that has those influences, it's a rare and refreshing listening experience, and it tends to always sound pretty unique. There just aren't many of them. Yeah. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the Etc. album, see the directory of albums from Quebec. For Red Hot Tracks and Purples from over 150 Quebec artists from the 70s and 80s. Currently over 200 and albums strong. And yeah, the Quebec scene really full and vibrant during the mid 1970s with bands like Pollen, Manige, Harmonium. Yeah, the just goes on and on. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard, the interplay, the the soloing, well, the interlocking, filigree anyway, the sounds, the synthesizer sounds, the vocals, the lyrics, if you understood them and would like to comment on them. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled trimaximalist, signing off.